Alright, still can't being over. In fact, actually, I've had to change drives because that drive over there was what I was using, and it is full. So we are now transferring onto a second drive, which is another Hitachi, but it's slightly smaller. I think all of this stuff will be able to fit. And once this is done, we can begin the transfer. In fact, I'm actually going to wait until tomorrow do the transfer because it's what time is it? It's about 5:06 in the morning, and I need to get to bed. Yeah. Alright, so I have decided some files are missing. Well, the media is there, so I don't know what you're doing. That's funny. It is exactly the same disk. Well, you're kind of stupid. Looks like we are reinstalling completely because Windows does not know how to work. What else is new? On the first reboot cycle. Please don't boot from the DVD. So we'll go past that. And, I did indeed have to do a full reinstall because it didn't want to recognize my install media as being the right one, even though it definitely is. License keys matched and everything, so there's one thing. Stupid thing. Maybe it was because this is a Windows 8 DVD and I was using Windows 8.1. I don't know, but that seems kind of stupid if you ask me. Wow, that was fast. I was not expecting it to be that fast. Be perfectly honest with you, but I can set this up. Shouldn't be too long. Much longer, and I'll be able to install all of the updates. It looks like it even got my display driver correct. Let me log into my network, and I'll finish up the rest of this. You don't really need to see this. It's, you know, it's the usual stuff. I've always loved this particular introduction. Ooh, we're getting your PC ready, and then the colors start coming. Colors are good. May take a few minutes, and my alarm is going off. I'll be just a second. That's weird. I've never seen it do that before. Whoa, holy crap. Well, I guess that would be one reason. It's because it's got the, it's magnified, and it's not supposed to be, so let me fix that. Alright, I figure I would give this quick little update here as part of this video. As you can see, Windows 8.1 has just been installed. Windows 8 is fully in place. All the updates are installed and everything. So this, I believe, should be probably ready by tonight. And then I can start transferring over all of the programs and all the data. Well, I can start transferring over the data and then install the programs. That's what makes sense. So hopefully that this will all be in place and I'll be able to use this thing by the end of the week. But I'm not going to keep my hopes up. It's drive test day, as you can see. I'm actually testing the SSHD right now to see if I can possibly get it to fail something. I checked the smart data. There's nothing really too out of the ordinary. I mean, there's a command timeout level of 5, which means that 5 times it's timed out on something. It kind of concerns me, but it's only 5 times, so it's probably not enough to be a big issue. So that's good. If you want an update on the current status of the T500, it is back, it is running, and I'm going to be using it today. Because, well, I don't have any reason to believe that it won't work. And apparently it disconnected from my network. So anyways, I think everything is here. Everything should be here. And it's good to have the machine back. Well, that would be one reason. I can turn off the wireless radio. And well, there you go. So let's see. There it is. Now it's on my network. Anyways. So everything here should be, just fine. There's probably maybe 1 or 2 things that I still need to set up so that they work, but everything should be running, which means I can stop using the T42, and my battery is almost dead, so I'm going to have to stop this and charge up the stupid battery. Screw stopping and charging the battery. Why don't I just continue on while I'm charging the battery? Sounds like a plan. Anyways, I've decided to not install a new operating system, or I was going to put Windows 7 on this, but I've decided not to, because it's developed problems of its own. What's been happening recently is you will power it on, cold boot, and it will sit there and not put anything on the screen and not do anything. But spin the fan up at high speed and seek the CD-ROM drive once. But that's normal for a start of post process. And sometimes it'll work fine. But when you go into the operating system or start to do stuff with it, the screen will go blank and come back up sometimes, and maybe it will display glitches. It seems to be completely random. And I found out that the solution, the quick and dirty solution, while this thing was out of commission, was to take a USB cable, any USB cable, could have been any cable, and stick it underneath there and just use it. And that worked. Which is an interesting, but not quite the kind of fix that I was hoping for. I'm assuming that the only real way to fix this is to replace the motherboard. There we go. I can't speak today, if you can't tell already. But that's not something I really want to do. What I could do is I could buy a parts unit on eBay, or I don't know, something else, that just needs a hard drive. And I could take the hard drive out of this, because basically every other piece in this is junk. Keyboard has a broken key on it, the display backlight's failing, and now this motherboard is having a problem. I could just take the hard drive out and put it into the other machine, but I don't really want to spend any real money on this thing, so I don't know. Right now it works, I guess, but I'm going to leave it as is. I'm not going to change anything about it. However, this video is not done yet. I am planning on maybe getting an SSD outright for this. And if the SSHD fails, or whatever the case may be, take the SSHD, put the SSHD into that thing over there, the compact, and then take its 320 gig drive and put it up there into the netbook and do all of that. I'm also, even if I don't do any of that, it's not going to be part of this video because you don't need to see that, but I'm going to be replacing the RAM in this netbook again. And I'm going to talk about why I'm having RAM problems in that netbook. Well, I'll talk about the problems themselves. I'm not going to talk about why, because I don't even know why, so there's one thing. So let's get started with that. So what we've got going on right now is a 1 gigabyte module. I believe that's a Samsung part. And I'm going to be putting this unlabeled, possibly bad, I don't know, 2 gigabyte module inside. The reason why I changed it out in the first place, because the last time I did an update on this, it had 2 gigs of RAM in it. The reason why I changed it is very simple. It was having problems starting up with that 2 gig module installed. What it would do is, instead of displaying the usual graphical BIOS splash screen, whatever, and it would display a text-based inside H2O, generic output screen. Then it would display a cursor at the top of the screen, and it would beep continuously. So that tells me that there's probably a problem, because it wouldn't boot. And that beeping is kind of annoying because it's going out both through the internal speaker and through the headphone output, which is kind of annoying. Did that once to me on a live show, which was a serious problem, because everybody got beeped live on the air. Anyways, so there's one thing. I don't know. So we're going to be putting the 2 gig module in there. I'm hoping that this is going to work. I'm not going to keep my hopes up, though. Because usually whenever I say, oh, it's going to work, no problems, it doesn't. And that's just kind of asking for it anyways. So let's try this, see what happens, and I will report back on the results. Or, well, I'll show you, because that's exciting. Okay, we're ready to go. I've got the network, the mouse, and the power plugged in. The reason why I've got the mouse plugged in is because, well, let's just say that the trackpad is unbelievably screwed. We got a fan. And we've got a proper boot logo. So let's see if it boots. Alright, looks like it does. So that's good news. By the way, that is not Windows Vista, that is Windows 7 Starter. It just happens to show the same. In fact, any version of Windows 7 would show that on this because the screen is too small, or maybe the graphics are just not powerful enough for the good logo. I don't know. I've never really figured out what causes it, just that it happens. And I can't find the mouse right now, so I'm going to have to go find that. Oh, look at that. I wasn't even recording. Wow. Doofus. Anyways, as you can see, the Windows Experience Index, they actually didn't change at all. It was a 2.0 before, it's a 2.0 now. If we take a look, let's close that. Go back to our, oops, that's Task Manager. I don't want that, but that's alright. If we take a look, you can see 2 gigs of RAM is installed. So now I'm going to do a couple boot cycles and see if it breaks it. And if it doesn't, I'm going to call that good. But of course, it probably won't break during my test. It'll break when I need it live on the air or something. I don't know. Alright, so we've actually got some really interesting results here. As you can see, through the first 5, we're getting a consistent, maybe about 43 seconds, you know, all of that. And the first 5, it does say that, and as you can see, it is pretty consistent. Through the second half, however, we are getting consistently in the 50s. Although, again, through the last 5 results, it's pretty consistent. But overall, it's not really consistent at all. They're all over the place. So I'm not quite sure what's causing that exactly. But it sure is interesting to note that anyways. I'm wondering if it's doing something with the hard drive, or if it just doesn't like being turned on and off repeatedly like that. But I don't know. Either way, it's working, I suppose. Alright, the netbook is now good to go. I did a couple boot tests, and it was just fine. Didn't fail once. But only time will tell, I suppose. And I think it is at that point that I'm going to conclude this video, because it's gone on for long enough, and there's not really much else that I need to talk about. And I don't really want to delay it any longer. So, thank you for watching. If you have any comments, do feel free to leave them down below. And this is CP666 signing off. I hope to see you next time. Till then.